Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Creating OMG Moments. I am excited to have a very special guest with me, Magdalena Raj, who I have known. How many years have we known each other? Like 6 or maybe 5?
Feels like that. It may be less,
been,
but
it's been a while. And so I'm excited to reconnect with her today and bring her on the show to talk about some of her OMG moments in her business. And she's a high impact coach. So get ready. This is going to be fun. We are going to talk about energy shifting. I think this is something we've both, like both of us have it on our profiles that we are energy shifters, which I love. That's why I love connecting with her. She specializes in partnering with successful but exhausted high achievers. So if you have ever felt like you get to a level of success, but you feel exhausted, Magdalena is your girl. She is going to help you to overcome this to get to that next level so you don't feel stuck. You can keep moving and get more peace, right? Where you're not feeling so overwhelmed in your life. So Magdalena is so happy to be here with you. Welcome to the show.
I am thrilled to be here, Tami. And as you said, we've kind of been in different groups together and circled around for a number of years. And I've always been impressed by what you're doing in your business. And I know you're a phenomenal coach, but just how you work with people, the answers you give, the insights you brought. So I'm just thrilled to be here with you today. This is so cool.
Yes, so excited to be here. So tell us, what is an OMG moment that you have created in your business? And for the listeners, the OMG moments we're talking about are when you do something big and bold, when you step outside of your comfort zone, whether that is, it can be speaking on the stage for the first time, writing a book, it can just be getting your first client, or it can be making 7 figures. Whatever it is for you, everyone is different and it's okay, but we all have OMG moments. Sometimes every day in our businesses can be an OMG moment. Sometimes it happens more frequently or less frequently, but we have those times that we're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just did that. So Magdalena, share with us what one of your OMG moments is.
I'm going to share one that was actually, it was really when you sat there and it was the OMG. And if I had the little cartoon thing going, you'd have the stars and the birds and the fireworks going on.
Yes.
And I was working in a public speaking course, working on improving speaking to others, speaking on stages. And there were times in my life where I'd had some constraints in that area. Sometimes I was fine. Other times, the little green monsters come up and you go into the freak fit. And as I was talking and working through this on the stage, one of the things that struck me was I wasn't taking some of my own advice, which was kind of funny because I talk a lot about roles, and you've heard me talk about the different roles we play and how many of them we play in our life, just all day through the day, the different ones we do. And I was standing there thinking about speaking, and I was thinking, well, geez, I've done these great speeches before. What's going on? And all of a sudden I realized, you know what? Just like your roles that you kind of put on and take off, maybe I can take, geez, had a bad experience and put that over here. And good experience was still accessible. I felt it before. I had that emotion before. I know what it was like. I know what I've done it. Or I felt something similar. And I literally stood on the top of the stage. I got silent and I just went like this. And the whole audience was sitting there and they were looking at me thinking, what happened there? I was like, oh my God, I can access it. And then the whole place burst out laughing. So that was my OMG moment.
So in the middle of stage, you have this realization and this download. And so what did you do next with that information? You got this big realization. So what did you do to move forward? How did you?
I did a lot of, and some of the things I get into now are priming exercises, but I really stepped back into reconnecting with the feeling of what it was like to give a successful speech, to see an audience, to relate, to connect. So really sat into the emotions. And if you think about it, really kind of stepping into that energy.
Yeah.
And I had somehow blocked it off. And it was the strangest feeling. So I did it on the stage, but then I continued with it after that and said, okay, what do I do every day? What are these little tweaks I do that go, oh, that's right. You like this. You used to love this. What's going on? So that's the thing, I think, is that you pull back into that, and you have to kind of try it a couple times. It just doesn't, you got the aha moment, but then it's like, what do you do from there?
Right.
Keep up with it.
So what did you have to overcome to get to this realization and to be able to move forward in that way?
I think I had to overcome, geez, I didn't like the way I did that speech. So the little nagging
Mm,
thing, the perfectionism, right? Some of
yes.
that imposter, all the things that come running out, we can think of them as our saboteurs. That's one of the things I talk about in coaching, right? They're ready and waiting in the wings, right? Like, it's almost like you can feel them running into the place, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of have to like go, I'm just going to be kicking you to the side
Hmm.
and step back. That's not who I am. That's a voice.
Yeah.
So let's just get back to who I am. Who am I at the core? And I love this. And that was the big thing, was reconnecting with myself.
That's so big. And I think, especially when you go through all these trainings, and I know you and I have been in speaker programs together and business programs at different points. And you hear all these voices of people telling you to do certain things and
Mhm.
say things a certain way. And sometimes you can get so caught up in what they're telling you to do or what they're saying, you kind of forget who you are and what you really want to say.
I
And
love that. I love that. That's so true. And because then it can be conflicting things. And actually, your brain goes off trying to resolve them all, which
mm-hmm.
you can't do when you're trying to act in the moment. You really want to get it into your operating system, get into your autopilot so it just comes out and you're not got the a little head trash going on as you're doing it. And that you just put that so beautifully because that's exactly what you try to do is get away from that and just be you.
Yeah. And I like to look at it as you've got to take what people teach you and use like the tools and the tips and the techniques, but in your own way, in your own format, because otherwise it's not going to work if you're resisting it the entire time.
So true, so true. And that's, we're all unique.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our special gifts. And it's almost like you're kind of twisting things around to go, okay, this can plug in here and this plugs in there. And when you look at other people, what connects them is a little different. So
Yeah.
don't always try to say, I have to be like that. Find how it fits you. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. I know you and I could talk about this for like
I
hours.
know we could.
And so we want to hear from you guys too. Like, what are some of those things that you find yourself struggling with? And so share that with us and let us know, what are you struggling with? Where do you find yourself in that moment, realizing you're not being yourself? Maybe you're trying to be like somebody else, or you're doing something that doesn't completely resonate with you. So we can help you to get to that next step of overcoming that and
Mm.
having a bigger impact. Like, I know you talk about having, the high impact coach and being able to shift that energy. So what are a couple tips or tools that you can share with the audience about how do you shift that energy or get that realization in those moments?
I'll give you a couple. One of the ones is the one I alluded to before, is kind of the concept of priming. So if you want to be in a particular state or a particular place when you're doing something, the time to be in that is not when you step into it that moment.
Mm.
It's to prep before that, but it's to have that intention. So you can do different types of exercises that get you there very quickly. You can do things that kind of prime you to make that more readily accessible. If you think about it, it's like going to your closet and saying, I want to wear that great outfit, and it's stuck way in the back. Well, you have to sift through everything. So when you pull it forward and you're like, I've got that feeling very close to there, then you can access it like that. So that's a big part of it, is the priming. And then the other part is connecting, which I'm sure you're right there, right? How do you connect back into yourself and just center it
Mhm.
so that you can go, oh, okay, I've cleared the head clutter. I reach out and I'm there. So that would be two big ones, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there something you can, maybe take that connecting a little further for our audience right now? And just how do they do that? I mean, because they're like, okay, yeah, you talk about connecting, but how can I actually make that happen? Is there
Sure.
something?
I mean, some of it is just body somatics, but you can put your hand on your heart. You
Mm-hmm.
can put your hand, below the bra strap, above the belly button. But as you sit there and then you just kind of breathe into that moment, and that's kind of where you can also say, no, I am powerful. It's how you connect back with your power. I know this, it's there. You breathe, you think it through with that, and then you kind of let go of your brain and go, And now I want to feel that. I want to feel that feeling I get when I am my best self in any situation. And you kind of let that juice in there and
Mhm.
just marinate in it quietly. I wouldn't be talking, but just being there and breathing in it and go, yeah, yeah, that's right. That's who I am. And whatever I take from this moment forward is what I'm meant to take. And I can be wonderful and just let go.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I hope you all, as you were listening, were doing that with her. And, I've always done the hand on heart, hand on core, right? You're
Mhm.
reconnecting those. And I think it's such a powerful exercise. I thank you for leading us through that. So if you didn't do it, just rewind and go listen to that again.
Absolutely.
Just take some deep breaths. I feel so relaxed when you get done. You feel so rejuvenated. It's like, oh, okay, and breathe again. I was actually I was at our team meeting for my husband's business yesterday. And I said to one of his assistants, she was like, I gotta, she was just like going crazy. And we were starting the staff meeting late because she was running late. And there were still patients in the office. And she was just like, I've got things to add to the agenda, but I haven't done it yet. And I'm like, just breathe. And she's like, I don't have time to breathe, Tammy. And I was like, yes, you do. Like, just step back. Let's just breathe. It's going to be okay. And sometimes we need that reminder to stop and listen and just be for a moment instead of, you mentioned all the saboteur voices in our head and all these things going
Mhm.
on and how we're showing up. And the only way to stop that is to sometimes physically stop and breathe. So I love that exercise.
The body takes what we don't think about when someone says breathe, or the other thing you could do, is touch your fingers, you focus in
Yes.
on something. But and they get irritated. They go, why do you stop telling me to breathe, right? I'm breathing already. The difference is your body needs to get that. Like the same way someone might take an aspirin or something for a headache, your body needs that breath in that moment to go, you're okay,
Yeah.
you're not going to die. Because everything else you're doing is kind of sending it that message.
Absolutely. I love that. So go back, listen to that again. You want to do this. It's something you can take with you and do as you're having those moments of feeling the anxiety rising or feeling like you don't have the time, feeling exhausted, feeling overwhelmed, all of those different emotions that come up for every single one of us, probably 20 times a day. And you just stop yourself and do that exercise, hand on your heart, hand on your core, like, okay, just take a few deep breaths, even if it's while you're running to the bathroom after a meeting or something, just to like clear your head and bring you back. So I love that tip for you. Thank you for sharing that. What's one OMG moment that you have planned for this next year? Is something on your agenda coming up that you're excited about that you want to share with people?
I think what I'm really excited about this year is I've been doing a lot of one-on-one coaching, and I'm going to be launching a group program. So that's pretty
Exciting.
exciting for me. It's going to be happening around the middle of the year. And I love women in circles.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
power, the joy, the experience, the sharing is so wonderful. And it's powerful, and it's also it's elevating. You just feel that in there. And so I'm excited to be doing that. So that's kind of going to be my big step this year.
awesome. Well, tell us a little bit more. That was a little tease there. What
Oh,
is your your group program about? We want to hear a little bit about it.
okay, cool, great. So what we're going to do is we work on, it's really around your extraordinary life. I work, as I said, with a lot of stressed high achievers on ways to not leave the rest of your life behind as you seek to excel and go to move to the next level. And I find that as I've been working with them, there are a lot of common themes within that. So we're going to kind of step into what that means. And I find some women don't even think of themselves as high achievers. I didn't. I wasn't, running the companies I worked for. I wasn't the president of the United States. So I'm not a high achiever. I mean, I'm kind of an achiever. And by doing that, we kind of do ourselves a disservice because there are certain characteristics that can come with that. And there's also the other side of the sword. There's the great things you do, and the other side of the sword is a lot of the hits on the personal side. So getting into that and understanding a little bit more about your core, who you are, where you want to go, and how you want to show up in the world, looking at your culture, which is your own culture you create. We talk about that a lot, but do you have a culture of achievement? Great. Do you have a culture of celebration? What about a culture of failure? What about a culture of accomplishment? So you don't wait for just the big bang. And then when you're a high achiever, you go, well, it didn't quite measure up, so I don't really have to celebrate. You write it down. When you write the goal down, you're going to write down the celebration amount too, or the celebration activity as well. So getting into that and then working on how do you keep dynamic integration going? How do you keep that alignment going? So that's where we'll go with that, with all the tools like from personal intelligence, something like I just touched on, or maybe
Yeah.
touching with fingers. So that's the guide that kind of says, give you yourself back. As one of my clients said, no matter how successful you are, it's
Mhm.
amazing to get yourself back. So that's what's going to be the program.
That's so exciting. I love it. And I love how you put it, right? You want to achieve more, but not leave the rest of your life behind, or to do
Absolutely.
more and not see other things start to fail or fall behind or feel like you're not
Mhm.
giving them the right attention. So it's going to be an amazing program. We will definitely share Magdalena's links in the show notes here. And I know you have an incredible resource for everyone too. So share that with them.
Yeah, as I touched on priming guides today, so for some of you who may or may not have done it before, it's a simple one, but it's three things that can be very powerful. You take those moments of the day at the end of the day and the morning, and I think they can get into things like the theta waves and what's going on, but by just setting that up before you even think about what you have to do,
Mhm.
set you up. And these are three simple things you can do. And I hope you love them and I hope you try them and keep using them.
Yes, awesome. I love that. I love when people give valuable tools that people can implement right away and use, and they're super helpful. So we're going to be sharing that with you in the show notes below. So make sure you click on that link and go check it out and get these primer activities that you can do with Magdalena. Awesome, awesome. It was been so great having you here and reconnecting with you.
Wonderful. Yes, it's delightful and it's great to just it's kind of from where we were to where we are to where we're going to. It's just lovely to check back in at different times. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being on. And as always, go out and create those big OMG moments in your life, whether they're big or small. Take that step to just get slightly outside of your comfort zone today. Do
Hmm.
one thing that's going to help push you in a direction of something you want to achieve. Thank you for being here with us.